Welcome to the Midday News. It's live on Joy 99.7 FM. Hits 103.9 FM in Accra. We're also live on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com, and affiliates in all 16 regions of Ghana, including Shine 96.9 in Akachigbewa, Radio Yendi, A1 Radio Bolgatanga, Sky FM Sunyani, and Radio Max Takradi. Also live on X Spaces, Facebook, and YouTube. Coming up, Electoral Commission warns officials to exhibit full level of professionalism and integrity as it declares it fully prepared for Saturday's NPP Presidential Primary, barely 24 hours to polls.
The Commission would like to caution our officers as well that they should attend to this national duty with integrity, fairness, and transparency.
We'll take you around the country where ballot papers and boxes and other electoral materials are being deployed to the constituencies. Also this afternoon, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says the scale of financial savings it has generated for the state justifies its relevance as it comments President Mahama's intervention that led to the withdrawal of a parliamentary attempt to abolish the office. Also coming up, President Mahama urges Ghanaians to stay alert and security conscious to help preserve the nation's peace as terrorism and other security threats increase across West Africa and concerns grow along Ghana's northern borders.
These realities demand a comprehensive and coordinated national response. Security cannot be seen as a sole responsibility of the armed forces and security agencies.
We'll hear more from the president on the fight on Galamsey in sports.
Black Stars midfielder Thomas Partey faces pressure to live up to expectations after public criticism from his manager. Plus, we've got the Champions League playoff pairings.
And local government minister blocks WA Assembly from demolishing a school building for the construction of a 24-hour market. It's also just hours to the Joy FM Big Workout, which is already breaking pregnancy fitness myths. We hear from a fitness expert on a later in the news.
No individual is ruled out of it. I would love to see pregnant women actually leading your exercise.
These and more with me, Maame Esi Nyamekye Thompson. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. Please stay. Let's go into the details now. This afternoon, the Electoral Commission says it is fully prepared to deliver a credible and transparent election in the NPP's presidential primary scheduled for Saturday. 5 persons, including former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Ejapong, are battling to lead the NPP into the 2028 election. After months of campaigning, more than 200,000 delegates are set to decide who the NPP's flag bearer should be. Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission, Fred Teta, says the Commission has issued a firm warning to its officials who will be supervising the election to be professional and exhibit high level of integrity.
The materials, the ballot papers, the albums, key items that will be needed for the elections have reached destination, and distribution tomorrow to the polling centers will be completed, if God willing. Specifically, as I've been saying, this is an election that we don't need huge numbers of officials. With directive of the Electoral Commission, what has been done is to restrict the personnel, the polling officials, specifically to our district election officers, which is the district electoral officer, their deputies, and then the secretaries. They are going to be the officials at the polling centers tomorrow. Per the structure, we're going to have 333 polling centers across the 16 regions. The total number of delegates, as I may say, from the album that we receive from the party is 211,800 plus. So those are the numbers that will be voting tomorrow. I would like to say that the Commission is highly optimistic that these elections will be smooth, seamless, and successful tomorrow. The Commission would like to caution our officers as well that they should attend to this national duty with integrity, fairness, and transparency.
Anyway, the Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission, Fred Tete, will go and speak to leadership of the NPP shortly. First, though, let's take you around the country, touch base with our correspondent to gauge the preparedness on the ground. First, to the northern region, Martina Bugri is there. Martina, what's the level of preparedness in the northern region?
In the northern region, security is all set up. Like I said earlier, the police are deploying over 1,000 police officers to man the various centers across the region. Now, they are not just going to only be police presence, but we are also being told that they will deploy some cameras into these areas to ensure that we don't have anything untold. We are told that they are going to be professional, they are going to live up to expectation, and by the end of the day, it will be peaceful for everybody to go home. For the Electoral Commission, they did the distribution of the materials this morning. They are expected to be sent to the various constituencies and stored in the police depots at the various district level. And so for the northern region, preparedness all set for tomorrow. The nail-biting moments as people are pitching camp to send off their final messages. We're also having the jabs as well. But in all, they are promising that it's going to be a peaceful election tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Martina Bugri. To the NPP stronghold, the Ashanti region, Nana Boakye is on the phone lines with us. Nana Boakye, what can you report? Do I have Nana Boakye on the line? Okay, so let's go to the Bono East region, speak to Anas Abate. Anas, what can you tell us from the Bono East region?
Just as Martina reported, here in the Bono East region, all the Electoral Commission have been able to dispatch all electoral materials to the 11 constituencies here. We are having 4 polling stations, with Plan South having 2 due to its voter population. The police on this part has deployed over 800 personnel with 75 sitting in each constituency or at each polling station. So all it says, they said they are having backup, or they have troops to be able to man any unforeseen crisis that may pop up at the end of the poll. Delegates on their part are equally waiting to choose who is going to lead the party in the 2020 elections, except that we have some key personalities within the region treading their way behind the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Thank you, Anas Abid. Now let's go back to the Ashanti region. Nana Boakye, what's happening in the Ashanti region, the stronghold of the NPP?
Well, Maame Esi, in the Ashanti region, tomorrow we are expecting over 36,000 delegates to participate in the election. This is a stronghold of the NPP, and one of the candidates, Dr. Osei Weduchum, hails from this region. His camp or his team have assured us that they are fully prepared for the election tomorrow. We've also stayed in touch with the regional executives who've told us that security is going to be tight. Measures are being put in place to make sure that any unforeseen circumstance will not take place in the Ashanti region. Police deployment is going to be one thing that they would have eyes on. But then as I speak to you, the camp of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kennedy Japan, Osei Weduchum, and other candidates are gearing up highly for the election tomorrow.
Thank you, Nana Boakye. Let's come back to Accra. There's a lot happening at the NPP headquarters after the election, but also the party headquarters will be a polling station where persons like former President Nana Akufo-Addo will be expected to vote. And my colleague James Aveji has been there and returned moments ago. So, James, what did you observe?
Mami, as we speak, there is a mountain of stage currently at the NPP headquarters. Aside from the place going to serve as a special polling center for the election, it would also be the final rally ground after the election when the winner is declared. That is where they will be doing the final declaration and outdooring of the next flag bearer of the new patriotic party. And so that arrangement is currently ongoing. What we are learning also is that later in the day, the party would hold a final press conference to outline the roadmap for tomorrow's activities. And so, as you said, a number of party executives are expected to vote there tomorrow. Party elders, former country diplomats, as well as ministers and their deputies who are not voting in their constituency will all be voting there, including the two former presidents, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and John Agyekum Kufuor.
Well, there's a lot to unpack on this election, and we're definitely on your election headquarters. We're covering it live on all our platforms, including our social media platforms as well. Head of our research desk, Kofi J, joins me in studio with more about the numbers and the polls that's going around. Kofi, what are the numbers for this election?
Well, so Maame, big numbers to pay attention to is that if you look at the total number of delegates who will be voting tomorrow, that's about 211,849. This number is more than 100 times what the NPP delegates, population used to be in 1998. In terms of voting centers, we expect 277 voting centers and about 332 polling stations. In fact, talking about polls, Maame, we've tracked 9 polls so far, and using statistical models, what we can say is that, not our projection anyway, but based on what the number is telling us,
right.
Dr. Bawumia, according to the 9 polls we've tracked, his average is currently around 47%, Kennedy Japan around 36%, and Dr. Brian Echampon around 5.9%. Dr. Yawose Dichum is currently around 1.79%, and Kobne J. Japan 0.89%.
Right.
And we stole from the polls anyway, where about 8% of the delegates, that's about 16,000 delegates, according to the 9 polls we've tracked, still remain undecided at the moment.
Thank you very much, Isaac Kofi. With that, let's speak now to the party's leadership to assess the preparedness and resolution to all outstanding issues. And Henry Nanabuachi is national organizer of the NPP. Grateful for your time, Henry. So, can you confirm that all constituencies have received electoral materials as we speak?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. We will receive a clear confirmation of that by close of today. But I can confirm that all the materials are on its way to the various regions, the various constituencies, and the voting centers as well. For purposes of security, Ghana Police is safeguarding all the electoral materials to the various destinations.
Right. In terms of candidates, has any of them brought up issues that are yet to be resolved? And what is the level of coordination between the party and the candidates?
Yes, with a lot of delight, I would say that all the presidential aspirants so far, they have displayed a lot of confidence, satisfaction regarding the work and operations of the Presidential Elections Committee. Indeed, we've had 3 or 4 stakeholders meetings with them, and in all these meetings, they have confirmed that indeed they have a lot of confidence in the work the Presidential Elections Committee is doing. We are hoping that tomorrow will mark the end of this work, or maybe after, because there will be some issues afterwards they will have to do with it. But so far, so good. We are happy. For the party leadership, we are satisfied because what we promised was free, fair, transparent, peaceful, incredible elections. And so far, we are pleased to announce that we are on our way to achieve this feat.
Right, and just before you go, you raised issues about national security and the claims that they may be deployed in this election. Have all those issues been resolved? What are the security arrangements?
Yes, with the security arrangement, the security regarding the presidential election is solely in the bosom of the Ghana Police. In fact, the only place they have requested for the intervention of the military would be the Boko Enclave, and it's for obvious reasons, security matters. We have intel that national security, some elements within the national security strongly affiliated to the NDC would want to deploy some unknown men, non-uniform men, to be part of our processes to some various voting centers to cause problems and give this whole exercise a bad name. We have alerted the Ghana Police that we do not want to condone any intrusion from such deployment the only body mandated to handle the security of this electoral process is the Ghana Police. And that is it. We are not going to compromise on that. So we are telling anybody, if you have been deployed, if you are not a police person, if you are not under the instructions of Ghana Police, it means you are not part of this. And even the policemen, they are going to be war uniforms, their name tags will be seen clearly, identification probably, then we know their command centers right from the national to the region to the various districts and constituencies. So we will have all the command centers. So once again, let me repeat, Ghana Police is the only body mandated to handle the security of the presidential primaries of the new Patriotic Party. Nobody is allowed to come close. We would not want to entertain any intrusion from anybody.
Thank you very much. Henry Nana Boache is national organizer of the NPP. Still in politics, the NPP is calling for the immediate resignation of National Democratic Congress officials holding government positions while seeking party posts, warning of potential conflicts of interest. Those mentioned include Mustafa Bande and Hannah Bisu. The call follows a directive by the NDC requiring members with government appointments to step down at least 6 months before contesting internal party positions ahead of the 2028 elections. The directive announced by the NDC General Secretary Fifi Kwete affects ministers, deputy ministers and heads of state institutions. We'll hear from the NPP shortly, but first listen to Mr. Kwete outlining the party's roadmap.
Now, for the avoidance of doubt and for absolute clarity, those intending to contest at the constituency level shall resign by April 2026. Those intending to contest at the regional level shall resign by May 2026. And those intending to contest at the national level shall resign by June 2026. These provisions are firm, constitutional, and we enforce without exception. So please don't even bother to come and see whether you can plead to be exempted, because there's no plea in this matter. We have so many people capable of holding positions. It cannot be the situation where only one or two individuals are capable of holding both an appointed position in government and also a position at the level of the party.
Well, reacting to the directive, the NPP's Deputy General Secretary Haruna Mohammed says government officials must focus on their appointed duties rather than combining them with party responsibilities.
Secretary, he was made to resign. The national organizer today was youth organizer. When he was a deputy executive director at NSS, when he won his elections, he was made to resign. There are a host of others I can keep on to count, because we have to separate the role of the party leader and the role of person who is performing in government. They should ask Mustafa Bande to resign as Deputy Director of Operations. They should ask the women organizer to resign from MIF and then stay as no organizer or stay in that particular position. They should ask Sami Demke to resign. They should hold one position so that they can be accountable to the people of Ghana.
Okay.
These are the key points that we want them to do. They should be bold enough as they have come out to say this. And we applaud them, but they should inch further to be able to bring accountability to the good people. They should ask Mustafa Bande to resign as Deputy Director of Operations. They should ask the women organizer to resign from MIF and then.
Moving on, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it has demonstrated its continued relevance to Ghana's governance architecture after surviving an attempt in Parliament to abolish the office. In its first half report ending December 2025, the OSP points to multi-billion cedi savings, high-profile prosecutions, and major asset recoveries. And once again, lead data analyst Kofi J joins me in studio with more on this. Kofi, why is the office framing this report as a defense of its relevance?
Well, Maame, because we've witnessed several calls and attempts to scrap the office, including one from Parliament. And in fact, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, headed by Kisi Ejeben, is effectively responding by arguing that it is not just necessary but cost-effective as well. He says that, the report says that its work has been protected the state from massive financial losses, supporting cases for an independent anti-corruption body separate from the Attorney General. The office also credits President Mahama for his intervention in stopping the move to abolish the office.
What level of savings is the OSP pointing to in support of this claim?
In fact, Maame, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says that it has generated savings and recoveries worth more than 20 times the total public funds it has actually received since 2018. The single largest intervention, it says, was the cancellation of the SML revenue assurance contract, which it says saved the state some 5.73 billion Ghana cedis. Additionally, additional savings include some 345 million Ghana cedis from a corrupt risk assessment of port disinfection contract between Ghana Health Service and LCB Worldwide Ghana Limited. Now, under this, the OSP further directed Ghana Health Service to submit an integrity plan to the office on or before 31st March 2026, detailing corrective steps taken and systematic reorganization and controls of the port of entry and exit disinfection program to be undertaken to prevent corruption, assurance, and to assure transparency and also accountability. And so the office also says that some 34.2 million Ghana cedis was saved in 2024 alone through the removal of ghost names from the government payroll.
Thank you very much, Isaac Kofieje, lead data analyst here at Joy News. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. And still to come, there's an update in the Gertrude Tokonu challenge on her removal at the ECOWAS court. And Kwekwa Sante quickly tells us the details of this case. Kwekwa.
Yes, Gertrude Tokonu is at the ECOWAS court seeking to actually enforce her right. She says that she had been unlawfully suspended at the time.
Yes.
And so today she sought to amend her case to now include the fact that not only had she been suspended, she has actually been removed from office as both Chief Justice and a Justice of the Supreme Court. The state, led by Dr. Justice Shremsai, defending the case, opposed that, but ultimately the ECOWAS court has given Gertrude Tokonu the opportunity to amend and actually include in her case now that she has actually now been removed as both CJ and a member of the Supreme Court and other courts of higher superior court. So the state now has 30 days to file a statement of defense if they are so minded. If they do not do so, then a substantive date will be set down for specific hearing of the case, and then perhaps by the end of this year we'll get judgment in that matter.
Thank you very much. Kwekwa Sante is a member of our legal desk, still listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. We take a break. When we return, President Mahama urges Ghanaians to stay alert and security conscious to help preserve the nation's peace as terrorism and other security threats increase across West Africa and concerns grow along Ghana's northern borders.
These realities demand a comprehensive and coordinated national response. Security cannot be seen as a sole responsibility of the armed forces and security agencies.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Mubarak is here with sports.
Yes, Maame Esi, Black Stars midfielder Thomas Partey is under scrutiny after his manager Marcelino Garcia publicly said the Ghanaian has been a long way off the standards. Partey started for Villarreal against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League but was substituted at half-time as the Spanish club eventually lost 3-0.
At an acceptable level, let's say, and so that's what we did. As for Thomas, I think Thomas, we know at Arsenal, well, there's a world of difference. It's very difficult to play in today's football at this pace. So, well, I think it's been months and it's enough. Tough time for this player to show us what he was or what he's showing.
To the Champions League playoff draw, Benfica face Real Madrid again. Bodo Glimt take on Inter. Karabakh versus Newcastle United. AS Monaco meets Paris Saint-Germain. Club Brugge face Atletico Madrid. Galatasaray hosts Juventus. Olympiacos take on Bayer Leverkusen. And Dortmund will face Atalanta. Back to you, Maame Esi.
Thank you very much. Interesting names there. Well, President John Mahama is urging all Ghanaians to remain vigilant and security conscious in safeguarding the country's peace and growing security concerns in West Africa, which it says remain complicated and volatile. He spoke at the Ghana Military Academy graduation ceremony.
The security environment in our sub-region remains complicated and volatile. Violent extremism, terrorism, and transnational crime continue to pose serious threats particularly along our northern border. Globally, the rise of non-state actors and asymmetric warfare has reshaped the nature of security challenges. These realities demand a comprehensive and coordinated national response. Security cannot be seen as the sole responsibility of the armed forces and security agencies. It is a shared national duty. Citizens, communities, traditional authorities, civil society, and government must peace and stability we all so cherish. I therefore urge all Ghanaians to remain vigilant and security conscious in safeguarding our nation's peace. As we celebrate our graduating cadets, we do so against the backdrop of Ghana's proud legacy in international peace support operations.
President Mahama there. Well, as climate change intensifies in Ghana's northern regions, rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, and erratic rainfall are undermining livelihoods and pushing many rural women to migrate south to cities such as Accra and Kumasi. There's more in our Climate Evidence series.
In Ghana, climate change is driving migration, particularly among rural female farmers who move to cities like Accra and Kumasi to engage in informal work such as herd poultry. While often viewed as a negative consequence, this migration has become a crucial strategy for household resilience, with migrants sending remittance back home to help families cope with climate change impact. Remittances serve as a safety net, enabling families to adapt to changing environmental conditions. However, there's a lack of data on migration's impact on household well-being through remittances. Migrants face reintegration challenges and risky practices, with many experiencing urban poverty and low earnings.
I'm from Walowali, and while I'm here, I have to provide for my family. If I don't, who will? So, whenever I work, I give them what I earn, even if it means I have to find a way to get it.
The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, has rejected plans by the One Municipal Assembly to demolish the 70-year-old Timdamba Primary School for a 24-hour economy market. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
This is the maiden meeting of the Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, with members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs since he took over office last year. His engagement with members of the August House that comprise of paramount chiefs and the Queen Mothers is to familiarize with them, listen to their concerns with a view to finding solutions to them. Turning to the 24-hour economy policy of the government, which included the construction of 24-hour markets, Ahmed Ibrahim poo-pooed plans by the One Municipal Assembly to collapse the Tendama Primary School for the construction of the 24-hour economic market. He was emphatic and straight to the point, and that the Tendamba Primary School, which was established in 1956, will not be pulled down.
I heard in the news yesterday that a school is being converted to a 24-hour market. Correct, it is not coming from my ministry. And I don't think President Mama will endorse that. So we will not collapse the school to build a market. Even if somebody has taken that step, that person needs to consult the Minister of Local Government.
The Electricity Company of Ghana says it will deploy franchise offices nationwide from February 2026 to make its services more accessible to customers. In a statement, the company says the move is intended to improve billing accuracy, reduce inconvenience to customers, and strengthen transparency in service delivery across all districts. And Fred Smith is in the studio to tell us more about this. Fred, what exactly is ECG introducing?
ECG is decentralizing some of its frontline services. Franchise officers, it says, operate across all district offices, supporting fieldwork such as reading postpaid meters, checking prepaid meter integrity, and distributing bills, printing.
Your obstetrician gynecologist never told you there are some contraindications to you exercising in your indication, to you exercising in your pregnancy. At every level in your pregnancy, you should be able to do some exercises. The level, the intensity will just be reducing when you are approaching term.
Well, the event comes off tomorrow at the Legon Sports Stadium from 6 a.m. and Alexis Bill is leading the charge.
So we're going to actually start off with a walk from the University of Ghana Stadium all through East Legon and then back to the stadium for aerobics. We'll have some fun games and a good time. I mean, we want people to be active this year, and that's why we put together the big workout. So lots of corporate bodies, some of the celebrities and government officials would all join